Hi. So today I thought I'll speak about Suryakumar Yadav and his injury. So recently you might have read in the news that Suryakumar Yadav, Indian batsman, he's had an injury called sports hernia, and he's getting surgery for it in Germany. So I thought that I'll explain a little bit about sports hernia since it's in the news. So we'll just go into what is it, how does it occur, what are the symptoms, how do we diagnose it, and what is the usual treatment. So let's what is exactly sports hernia? So sports hernia is also known as athletic pubalgia. It's also called that. It's basically a damage to your muscles or the tendons in the lower abdominal or in the groin region. Now, the most important thing is that it's a misnomer when we call it as a hernia. So, there is no herniation actually. So, what happens is basically due to the injury in the muscles or tendons, that's what is causing the pain. Now, it is usually seen, especially in footballers. I see more in cases in footballers, hockey players, basketball players, volleyball players. In cricket, I have seen it more in young fast bowlers quite a lot. Now, why does it occur? Basically, when there is continuous repetitive and twisting movements, basically there's a change of direction that causes a lot of shear strain onto the muscles, which causes the injury. That is basically the lower abdomen as well as the groin muscles, and that causes injury. Now, basically, the cause of it. It could be due to overload. You are loading, you're quite heavy, it means there's no rest time for recovery, poor recovery methods. You have a weak core, you have deficiencies, you have a muscle imbalance. So all of these can cause also the injury. Now, earlier studies were poor. Now studies are coming up in better, and they are looking at a genetic component also. They are saying that due to your genes, the action of metalloproteinase. So basically, these are all the genetic area where your protein content may be not strong enough, causing these injuries. So that is studies which are also going through. So hope you understood as to why it occurs and how it occurs. So basically, due to weakness mainly is what is the most criteria where overloading occurs when both combine. That's the most common causes. Now, what is symptoms? Is basically groin pain. You get severe groin pain whenever you're batting or fielding or running. You'll have pain. Usually, it is very gradual type of pain. You start it slow and then you pick it up. The pain increases. It worsens over time and it affects daily activities. It is usually relieved with rest. You take rest. Next day you can play, but then again the pain again occurs. And it's usually one-sided. It's unilateral. So it is never both sides. So it's always on one side. So this is what usual symptoms which we see. Now, how do we diagnose it? Is one is physical examination. Your sports medicine doctor usually examines and usually gets an idea that this could be the main cause. MRI is usually done also to rule out other things. It's the most sensitive tool, but the problem is that it's not very specific for this type of injury, but we can rule out other things. So osteitis pubis, or we can rule out an actual inguinal hernia. We can rule out a lot of things. So with an MRI, we can actually exclude and we can come to a diagnosis that this is probably a sports hernia. So how do we treat it? The first line of treatment is always rehab, a good rehabilitation program of around 6 to 8 weeks. That's what I usually tell my patients, 6 to 8 weeks, that's what it's going to take. You need a proper program where we start with core stabilization, we give a little bit rest, we stretch, adductor stretches, hip mobilization, a lot of progression of exercises, and we load it to eccentric loading finally, where we do a lot of external oblique, rectus abdominis. All these are all abdominal muscles, and your adductor muscles, where Copenhagen plank, all those exercises we do, so that we start strengthening the muscles much more, and then slowly we get to return to play. Now, if failure occurs, when failure occurs, we go for surgery, and that is what has happened to in Suryakumar Yadav's case. Also, they have decided to go to surgery. Now, one of the reasons why they go for surgery is also for a quicker return also, because see, whatever said and done, 6 to 8 weeks of rehab, and there's no guarantee, 100% guarantee that you will come back. While with surgery, there is at least a slight guarantee, you can say 95% return quickly. The 5% we can never say. But so what they do is that they do a laparoscopic surgery where they release the tension on the inguinal canal and they reinforce the posterior wall of the inguinal canal. So by reinforcing means they give support over it, and that prevents the pain and that strengthens the abdominal wall. That is what is being done, and usually you can return back in 3 to 4 months. So I'm expecting Suryakumar Yadav also in 3 to 4 months to get back into play also. But depending on the level of surgery also, because in certain cases, if there is no complications, you can even get much more faster within 2 months also I've seen. But in usual cases, around 3 to 4 months without any complications. Now, hopefully you have understood. I have fast and explained the whole this thing. This is a very complex injury. Actually, it's not easily diagnosed. It's quite tough to diagnose a sports hernia actually. And when diagnosed, it's very difficult to treat it, because you assume it could be due to an injury over here or a treatment. So if you noticed, I told you that the injury could be abdominal wall or on the groin. You understood. So it's a little bit tough to manage, but it is something which can be solved. So hopefully Suryakumar will be doing well and he'll be coming back into the team soon. And I hope you enjoyed this video. See you till next time. Bye.